You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin.
I was halfway through a ribeye I didn't even want when Brent dropped the line that killed the night. So, do you make her reboot before sex, or just unplug and pray? Laughter exploded across the table like a damn sitcom. Kayla slapped the table, laughing harder than all of them. I didn't laugh. I was too busy wondering how I got here. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. My name's Jason. I'm 31. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I do IT support for mid-sized corporate clients. It's not glamorous, but it pays well, and I'm good at it. Kayla knew that, or I thought she did. This dinner was supposed to be our real introduction to each other's lives. I'd been dating her for about 6 months. She'd met a couple of my friends casually, but this was her full crew. All influencers, lifestyle vloggers, travel content people, one guy who reviewed earbuds full-time. They all looked the same. Smug faces, shiny clothes, and that same fake laugh every time someone said something edgy. I tried. I did. I smiled through the small talk. I answered questions about my job, even though I knew they weren't listening. Every one of them kept glancing down at their phones, probably live posting their appetizers. It started light. Comments like, "You must be the guy who fixes all the TikTok crashes. And so wait, you actually sit at a help desk all day?" But Brent took it further. Of course it was Brent. Tall, tan, way too white teeth. Wore sunglasses inside. The sex joke was his grand finale. I turned to Kayla. I waited for her to say something, just one word to shut it down. But no, she doubled over laughing, nearly spilled her drink. That's when I leaned in and said, low enough for her only, "Can we maybe change the topic?" She didn't even hesitate, rolled her eyes and said, "If you don't like it, pay and leave." That's when everything inside me stopped. Not because I was angry. I wasn't. Not yet. I was humiliated. Fully, deeply humiliated. I looked around the table and realized not one of these people gave a single shit about me. And apparently, neither did she. So I flagged the server, pulled out my card, and asked for the check. "Everything," I said. "All of it. Just one bill." A couple people went quiet. Brent let out a weird little snort like he couldn't believe it. I paid. Tipped 30%. Signed the slip. Then I stood up, pushed in my chair, and walked straight out the door. Didn't say a word. The first time I saw Kayla, she was standing in the back of a conference room, holding her phone up like she was filming a makeup tutorial, not an IT onboarding. We had just landed a massive service contract with a tech company in Tempe, and I was leading orientation for their onboarding team. Whole room of new hires, 30-something people, all in business casual, staring blankly at me while I explained how we'd be managing their ticket system. "Rule 1, I said, clicking the remote. "If you turn it off and back on, and it still doesn't work, then call us." A couple of them laughed politely. Most were half asleep. Except her. She was in the back row, standing near the snack table, whispering into her camera and pointing it at me like I was a zoo animal. Not even pretending to pay attention. Blonde waves, too much highlighter, fake lashes. I figured she was someone's intern or maybe lost. When the session ended, I packed up my laptop, and that's when I heard heels tapping over. "Hey," she said, sticking out her hand. "I'm Kayla. That was so fun. You're hilarious." "I wasn't trying to be," I said, shaking her hand because I didn't know what else to do. She smiled like I was adorable. "I'm just here shadowing for a piece I'm doing. The faces behind the screen. You know, showing what goes into keeping companies running." I blinked. "You're media?" "Sort of," she said. "I'm a lifestyle vlogger. I cover stories that humanize tech. Culture stuff. Vibes." I don't think I said anything. Just gave her a polite nod and started coiling up my charger. But she kept going. "You've got a really natural presence. Seriously, have you ever been on camera before?" "Only for security footage," I said. She laughed like it was the best joke she'd ever heard. "Okay. But would you ever consider letting me feature you in one of my vlogs? Nothing intense, just a day in the life of IT kind of thing. Candid. Fun." I should have said no. I knew it even then. But she had this way of locking eyes with you, like you were the only person who mattered in that moment. Like you were already interesting. "I don't know," I said. "Doesn't sound like my thing." "Come on," she said, nudging my arm. "You'll barely notice me. I'll buy you coffee. Promise." And somehow that worked. We met 2 days later at a cafe near the office. She brought a GoPro and a ring light the size of a car tire. Filmed me walking in, sitting down, ordering. Asked me questions like, what's the weirdest help desk call you've ever gotten? And what do people get wrong about IT guys? She made me laugh more than I expected. She actually listened. By the time we wrapped, she said, "You hungry? I know a great Thai spot near here. I'll drive." We ended up eating pad CEW and trading stories about our high school jobs. I told her about the time I crashed a server at a local bank. She told me about her YouTube channel and how she used to review dorm decor. After dinner, we parked outside my building, and she leaned on the center console and said, "So, what happens next?" I kissed her. She stayed over that night. Didn't even pretend she wasn't planning on it. I remember waking up around 2 a.m., hearing her in the kitchen filming herself making tea. She whispered into her mic like she was narrating a documentary about my mugs. That should have been my first red flag. Instead, I just smiled, rolled over, and went back to sleep. The next morning, there was a pink toothbrush on my bathroom sink. I didn't ask about it. I just shoved my shaving cream to the side to make room. 2 weeks later, she had half the closet. Then it was 3 drawers. Then a whole shelf in the fridge labeled "Do Not Touch," prep food. I never said, "Move in." She just kind of stayed. At first, it was fun, different. I'd come home from work and the whole condo would glow purple and blue from the neon signs she ordered off Etsy. One said "Vibes Only." Another just said "Content" in bubble letters. Every time I opened a cabinet, something new was inside. Face rollers, boxes of teeth whiteners, collagen powder, at least 6 tripods, racks of clothes, half with the tags still on. She said they were sponsored pulls, whatever that meant. I started calling my guest room the studio. She turned it into a filming cave, blackout curtains, LED wall panels, a disco ball. Yeah, a damn disco ball. At night, I'd lie in bed watching her edit footage on her laptop with that same laser focus I used to have for debugging code. She'd hum little songs to herself while clipping transitions. There was something hypnotic about it. One night, I asked, "What happens if this doesn't work out? The vlogging thing?" She didn't even look up. "It's already working. I'm building. Just takes time." I nodded. "Let it go." She started asking for little things. Faster Wi-Fi. A new desk chair for posture. "Nothing crazy," she said. "It's for work." I upgraded the router. Bought the chair. Then it was, "Hey, the couch is super ugly on camera. Can we find something more stream-worthy?" We went to a showroom the next day. She picked a beige sectional that cost more than my first car. I swiped my card, sweating. She always said the same thing. "It'll all pay off." Sometimes I believed her, especially when I'd come home and see her filming skincare reviews with actual brands tagging her. Other times, I'd open the electric bill and want to scream. One month, it jumped by $100. All the lights, the charging rigs, the damn ring lights. But every time I brought it up, she kissed me, wrapped her arms around my neck, and said, "I know this is a lot. I promise I'm not just taking." I wanted to believe that. I wanted to believe I was helping her build something real, that I was investing in her the way no one else ever had. She said she'd been burned before, that guys always flaked once they saw how hard she worked, that they called her superficial when she was just chasing something she actually cared about. So I told myself I wasn't like them. I covered groceries. I paid the electric, the gas, the water. I replaced the kitchen faucet because she said the water stream looked cheap in her matcha tutorials. She offered once, barely, to split the Hulu bill. I said, "Don't worry about it." Because at that point, I was all in. I'd bought into the dream. I wasn't just dating Kayla anymore. I was managing a brand I didn't own. The real tipping point hit in Cancun. She'd booked it as a joint content opportunity, whatever that meant. But I was the one who paid for the flights, the hotel, even the checked bags. She said she'd handle it later when a brand reimbursed her, but I knew that was bullshit the second we landed. First thing she did at the resort? Whipped out her tripod before we even got to the room. I tried to keep up, tried to be patient. I carried her camera bag, held reflectors, got on one knee in the middle of a damn walkway so she could get the right angle of her holding a coconut. She changed outfits 6 times in 2 hours and didn't even sweat. By the second day, I was burned out and sun-stupid. I finally asked, "Can we just swim? Together? No cameras?" She pulled her sunglasses down her nose and said, "Babe, I already got water content. I'm done with this location." That pissed me off more than it should have. At dinner that night, I asked, "Can we unplug for one night? No phones. Just eat and talk." She gave me this tired smile. "Jason, this is literally my job." I stared down at my plate. She'd ordered 5 things for the table: seafood tower, ahi sliders, wagyu tacos, then picked at one and filmed the rest. Said she'd eat later. She never did. That was when it hit me. I wasn't her boyfriend. I was a camera guy with a credit card. Back home, the energy never slowed. My schedule started bending around her content calendar. She'd say stuff like, "Hey, I need you to work from home Friday, so we can shoot before golden hour." Or, "Can you move your client calls? The kitchen light hits better in the afternoon." And like an idiot, I'd say sure. Then came the party. I walked in from a 12-hour day. Client systems crashed in Dallas. 2 password resets that should have taken 5 minutes dragged into a full-hour nightmare. And the second I opened the door, I got hit with lavender vape clouds and thumping bass. There were at least 20 people in my condo. I didn't recognize half of them. Some girl in platform heels was filming herself in my bathroom mirror. A guy in a beanie DJ'd from my kitchen island using my Bluetooth speakers, and someone had moved my router onto the floor to plug in a fog machine. Kayla came bouncing over with a red Solo cup and said, "Babe, I forgot to text you. Isn't this sick?" I didn't answer. I walked into my bedroom, shut the door, and sat on the edge of the bed. 10 minutes later, some guy opened the door without knocking, then laughed and said, "Oh, shit, didn't know anyone was in here." I stood up. Out. He left fast. I found Kayla again, pulled her aside, and said, "You didn't even ask. This is still my place." She blinked. "It's just a party." "Yeah, a party with random dudes walking into my room." She rolled her eyes. "You're overreacting." Then she walked off to go take a photo with someone in my shower. I stood there in the middle of my own damn living room, surrounded by vape pens, spilled drinks, and ring lights, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I lived there. I felt like I was renting space in her set. I didn't care who they were. Didn't ask names, didn't raise my voice. I just walked into my kitchen, yanked the AUX cable out of my own speakers, and said, "Out. Now." The 2 guys looked at each other, smirked, and one of them muttered something about me being the vibe killer. I didn't flinch, just pointed at the door. They left, slow and smug like they were doing me a favor. I turned and saw Kayla filming another drink pour by the window. "We need to talk," I said. She didn't look up. "Tomorrow. I'm working." "No. Now." She waved me off like I was a fly. "Jason, chill. Seriously. I'll be back later." She wasn't. She disappeared for 2 days. Didn't answer texts. Didn't come home. Just kept posting story updates from different apartments, different rooftops, different drinks. The second night, I sat on the couch. My couch, the expensive one she picked out, and opened our joint card account. The original plan was to make it easier to split things like groceries and gas. What I saw wasn't groceries. $400 at Zara, $950 at West Elm, $200 on Uber rides. For separate orders from some skincare site. A $1,300 charge to some camera rental company I'd never heard of. She'd racked up over $7,000 in 2 months. I checked our agreement. She hadn't put in a single payment. Not one. She walked in sometime the next morning, holding a smoothie and wearing a hoodie that wasn't hers. She kicked off her shoes, tossed her bag on the counter, and acted like nothing had happened. I waited until she sat down to open her laptop. Then I dropped the card statement in front of her. "What's this?" she said. "You tell me." She flipped a few pages, then rolled her eyes. "Okay, you said this was for house stuff." "That's not house stuff. That's shopping, rides, gear, furniture, none of which you talked to me about." She didn't even look guilty. Just bored. "Jason, you make enough. Who cares?" I stared at her. "That's not the point." "Then what is the point?" she snapped. "You're acting like I robbed you. It's a shared card. You gave me the number." "Yeah, because I trusted you." She scoffed. "Oh my God, you're being so dramatic." I sat down across from her. My hands were shaking under the table. "You treat me like a bank, or a lighting crew, or background noise. I don't think you see me at all." She leaned back in the chair like she was done with the conversation before it even started. "You're twisting everything. You knew who I was when we met. I didn't trick you." "No," I said. "You didn't trick me. I let this happen. That's on me." She got up, muttering, "Whatever. Get over it." But I didn't. I couldn't. That was the moment something in me flipped. The excuses stopped working. The charm didn't hit the same. I'd stopped feeling like a partner a long time ago. Now I didn't even feel like a person. She begged me to come. Said her friends had been dying to meet me. I almost didn't go. After the card fight, I barely looked at her for a week. But she wore me down, said we needed a win, a reset, just one night to be normal. No cameras. So I booked the reservation. Downtown Scottsdale. Trendy steakhouse with overpriced cocktails and walls covered in fake ivy. We showed up late, and her crew was already there. 6 of them, loud, tanned, teeth too white, dressed like they were all on different reality shows. I sat down and immediately knew I didn't belong. Every one of them had a phone propped up. A couple had little clip-on lights shining at their faces. Plates came out and half the table stood to film them like food was a celebrity. I tried to keep it light. Asked one guy, Riley, I think, what he did. He said, brand partnerships. Then stared at me like I should know what that meant. Brent showed up last. Slid into the seat across from me like he owned the place and said, IT guy made it. We can finally troubleshoot the vibes. They all laughed. I smiled. Barely. It didn't stop there. 10 minutes later, a girl in a faux fur jacket asked, so what is IT support? Is it like Geek Squad but fancier? Brent jumped in again. Nah, he's the guy who tells you to turn it off and back on. That's it. That's the whole degree. More laughing. I glanced at Kayla. She was recording a story. Didn't even blink. Another round of drinks came. Brent got bolder. Wait, I got it, he said, leaning forward. When things get too hot in the bedroom, does Jason tell you to reboot? The whole table cracked up. Someone actually snorted. I didn't say a word. I just looked at Kayla, waiting. She didn't flinch. She laughed so hard she clapped. Wiped a tear. Turned to her friend and said, he's such an idiot, meaning Brent, but not in a way that defended me. I leaned in toward her and said, Lo, can we change the topic? That's when she rolled her eyes and said it. If you don't like it, just pay and leave. There it was. Loud enough for everyone to hear. Brent smirked. Riley gave a soft damn. One of the girls just stared down at her phone, pretending not to notice. I sat back, let the silence hang, then waved over the server. Can I get the check? I asked. The server looked around. For just you or? For the table, I said. Everything. Just put it all together. A couple people started awkward laughing. Kayla looked confused. What are you doing? I pulled out my card and handed it over. Paying, I said. That's what you wanted, right? No one said anything after that. Brent finally shut his mouth. One girl awkwardly adjusted her camera like she'd caught something she wasn't supposed to. The server came back. I tipped 30% and signed. Then I stood, pushed in my chair, and left. Kayla didn't follow. I saw her in the reflection of the front window, still holding her phone, frozen. That night, I checked into a hotel 10 miles out. King Suite. Quiet. No ring lights. I pulled out my phone and texted my assistant. Need a ledger by morning. Full expense breakdown. I was done being the joke. I was back in my office by 9 the next morning. Didn't speak to anyone. Just opened my inbox, downloaded the ledger my assistant sent over, and got to work. Line by line, rent, utilities, streaming services, skincare shipments, lighting rigs, Wi-Fi upgrades, Cancun, that damn couch. The total came out to $84,620 for 6 months. I split it down the middle and rounded down for grace. $42,310. Subject line, final expenses. Body, here is your portion. Let me know when it's settled. I hit send and stared at the screen for a full minute. Then I turned my phone over, silenced it, and went back to fixing a server bug for one of our retail clients. An hour later, the buzzing started. Nonstop. First came the texts. Are you serious? What the actual hell is this? You're insane. Then the calls. 23 in a row. I didn't pick up. By noon, the tone shifted. Please don't do this. Can we just talk? You're really going to bill me like I'm a stranger? I left my phone off. Next morning, she showed up at the front desk of my office. No makeup, hoodie, hair up in a messy bun. I hadn't seen her like that since our second week together. Honestly, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked nervous. Said she just needed a few minutes to talk. I told reception to bring her to one of the unused conference rooms. Neutral territory. She sat down across from me, hands clasped tight like she was bracing for impact. Jason, she said quietly, I get it. I was out of line. I shouldn't have said what I said. I didn't mean it like that. I stayed silent. I was just trying to keep things light, and it went too far. I know. But this? Sending me a damn invoice? That's not a conversation. That's punishment. I looked her straight in the eye. No. That's the contract you activated when you told me to pay and leave. So I paid. Now I'm finalizing the exit terms. She flinched like I'd slapped her. You sound like a robot, she snapped. You don't even care. I leaned back in the chair. I care about one thing now. Respect. And that's not something I'm negotiating anymore. She sat still for a second, then started crying. Full-on sobs. She pulled her hoodie sleeve down to wipe her face. They left, she said. All of them. Brent. Riley. Everyone. I told them what happened, and they said I was being dramatic. That I made the brand look messy. They unfollowed me. Didn't even check in. I waited. Let her sit in it. You think I don't know I messed up? She said. I was trying to build something. I didn't mean to use you. I nodded slowly. You didn't mean to. You just did. She looked down. After a long pause, she said, So what happens now? I stood up, picked up the printout I'd brought with the invoice. Laid it in front of her. You settle what you owe. No more, no less. She stared at the number for a long time, then finally whispered, Okay. And just like that, the conversation ended. She left the building alone. I didn't watch her go. 3 days later, she went live. Messy hair, dim lighting. That fake raw look influencers do when they want sympathy. She didn't say my name, but everyone knew. I just feel like, when someone makes you feel small for chasing your dreams, that's not love. That's control, she sniffed. I was basically told to act like a housewife. Smile, cook, shut up. And when I didn't, I got slapped with a bill. Comments flew in. Hearts, crying faces, people saying, Leave him, queen. I watched it alone in my kitchen, phone propped up on the counter while I reheated leftovers. She didn't cry much. Just got watery-eyed at the right moments, paused long enough to make it dramatic. That night, I called our company's legal department. Told them everything. They said, Do you have documentation? I emailed them a folder, receipts, bank statements, screenshots of her asking for money, texts where she promised to pay me back once the brand picks up. They reviewed everything, fast. 2 days later, they sent me a bulletproof legal statement with timestamps and attached exhibits. I posted it to my own page. Simple, clean, no emotion. Statement regarding recent allegations. All financial agreements were voluntary, documented, and uncoerced. Claims of manipulation are false and defamatory. Evidence available upon request. Further comments will be handled legally. No hashtags. No tags. Just facts. The internet turned fast. Some of her fans kept defending her. Said I was trying to ruin a woman's livelihood. Said I had bitter ex energy. Fine. But others started asking questions. Screenshots leaked. One of her old vlogs had her literally thanking me for being her rock and bankrolling her vision. That didn't age well. Then the brands moved. Quietly at first. One day her affiliate links stopped working. Next day, one of her collab announcements disappeared off her feed. Someone on Reddit claimed 3 sponsors pulled out after reviewing her recent conduct. She didn't say anything for almost a week. Then posted a black square with a caption. Taking time offline. Feeling humbled. Will do better. Right. The next time I checked her page, every photo with me was gone. No Cancun. No couch. No couple goals reels. Wiped. She posted a 3-second story days later. Just a shot of her laptop with an iced coffee and the words, New chapter. I didn't respond. Didn't post again either. By then, I was already packing. Already done with the whole damn scene. She started this war thinking I'd fight in public. But I never raised my voice. I just kept my receipts. It showed up in a plain manila envelope with no return address. Just my name, handwritten in all caps. My assistant brought it to my desk during lunch. Said, This just came in, no signature. Inside was a folded piece of printer paper wrapped around a personal check. $3,000. No memo line. No signature flourish. Just the amount and her name. The note was written in purple ink. Each line careful, like she'd rewritten it 3 times. I know this isn't enough. It's what I could manage. I sold some of the gear and a few things I didn't need. I've been applying to real jobs now. Things with hours and bosses and no hashtags. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed to try. You were the first person who ever took me seriously. I confused access with love. Thought a good life was about aesthetics. You taught me what value actually means and how ugly it is when you throw it away. I used you. I won't sugarcoat it. You didn't deserve that. I ruined something good. No more chasing fake influence. K. I sat there for a minute, still holding the envelope. Didn't feel satisfaction. Or revenge. Just quiet. $3,000. That wouldn't even cover the couch she insisted we needed. But it was something. For once, she hadn't filmed it. No selfie, no public apology post, no captioned story asking for grace. Just a check in an envelope. I didn't cash it. Didn't tear it up, either. I slid it into the back of my bottom desk drawer, under some old client contracts and a spare charger. Then I logged into my banking app, donated $3,000 to a youth tech foundation in Phoenix that funds laptops and training for low-income high schoolers. Wrote the donation in her name. Later that day, I walked past the break room and heard two junior techs debating whether to major in engineering or security. They were 19, maybe 20. Eager, hungry. And not once did I think about Kayla. I didn't tell anyone about the check. Not my assistant. Not my boss. Not my buddies in IT chat. It wasn't about that anymore. She gave what she could. For once, she didn't try to turn it into a brand move. And for me, that was enough. Not for reconciliation. Not for closure. Just for the record. She owed me more than money, but at least this time, she paid something back. The offer came in quietly, just like everything else that mattered. My boss pulled me into his office between back-to-back Zoom calls and said, "Team lead position just opened up in Austin. You're at the top of the list if you want it." I didn't say yes right away. Didn't say anything, actually. Just nodded and told him I'd think about it. That night, I booked a flight. No announcement. No Instagram story. I didn't even tell my assistant. Landed in Austin on a Friday. Rented a car. Hit a taco truck straight from the airport. Sat on the curb outside some beat-up gas station eating barbacoa and watching a couple of kids race each other down the sidewalk. Felt good. Easy. No lighting rigs. No one fake smiling at their phone between bites. I took my time. Walked through Zilker Park. Watched a street musician play the same 3 chords for almost an hour. Some guy next to me offered me half his lemonade. No strings. It hit different. Not just because of where I was, but because of what I wasn't dragging around anymore. That night, I lay on the hotel bed flipping through my phone. No alerts, no drama. Just mindless scrolling. Then I saw it. Kayla's latest post. She was in a break room somewhere, wearing a retail vest. Name tag. No filter. Hair pulled back. Smiling. Not selling anything. Not performing. Just her. I paused for a second. Didn't zoom in. Didn't read the caption. Didn't like it. And I didn't reach out. Instead, I backed out of the app and reopened the coding tutorial I'd started last week. Left off at Chapter 7, Real-Time Security Patches in High-Traffic Environments. I pressed play. Picked up right where I left off. Kayla taught me how to be more in the moment. I taught her what a moment costs. That's balance. That's peace.